Lightroom program, the Adobe Lightroom, and I have gone out and I've gathered 20 photos in non-ideal conditions. There's a part one of this video. In that video I went out and shot, and basically you can see here a cloudy day, not a whole lot of great light. We had some obviously, well not obviously, but we had some really good scenes from the overlook. But in general, it was a day that had not a lot of light. It's winter. And so my test is like, what can I do with these photos in Adobe Lightroom to kind of make them spark? Because, you know, I guess conditions weren't really striking out there. So I've got my 20 photos into Lightroom, and yeah, I'm just going to go through and see what I can do to these. And I guess I'll go in the order that they were shot. So, and I'll talk it through, and I'll try not to make it too long, and let's just see what we come up with. So we start with 20, and let's see like how many good ones we get. So on this first photo, I'm probably going to go ahead and crop it, because it's most photographers, most people who know what they're doing, not to say that I'm one of them, but most people who do know what they're doing, they usually crop and straighten first. So one thing I usually do is do an auto straighten. Okay, cool, because I trust the computer more than me. Hit enter, and let's go back to crop, and let's see. I don't think this needs to be that much sky. One rule we could go on is maybe half and half, or the rule of thirds, quote unquote. Let's see how that looks. One thing I'm doing right now is you're thinking, why don't you crop up to there? Well, I see that there's some different color right there. So I'm going to see if I can work with that, make that color stand out, and then I will have more layers in this photo. So one cheat I have, especially as a beginner, I'm a beginner, everybody, so, you know, don't expect miracles. One thing I do as a beginner is to go to the presets and go with one of these basically, you know, auto filters, right? Because they just help me kind of get a starting point. Like, I'm going to change, but I just get my ideal starting point. And one thing I personally almost always do with these filters is look at the sky. And these retro tend to be my favorite. The cinematic are probably too stark unless you're really trying to go with some kind of vibe. So I usually just stay with the retro. And let's see, I like that one. I like that one a little bit more, maybe. I think 10 and 4 are often my favorites. Let me think. Let's see. Or 6. Let's try 6. Okay, cool. Now, I've got kind of a base. And one thing I recently discovered, which is, again, if you're good with Lightroom, you kind of know how to do this. I want to make layers, masking layers. So one thing I'm going to go ahead and do is do this linear gradient. And this allows me to basically change a portion of the picture, and then it's going to be gradual, as in the word gradient. Cool. Okay, so let's go there. Okay, and that pink, by the way, is like a sign of intensity for what you're going to do. And then you go over to your exposure, and this is where I can change it, and it will change it gradually in the photo. So, of course, up top, you can have it pretty dark, and then it'll get a little lighter. That's pretty much one thing. I mean, I don't want to go, like, exaggerated, you know, like, what wasn't, you know, like, basically lie in a photo, like, tell what wasn't really there. But I do want it to be striking. So I'm going to go with maybe right there. Cool. Okay, that's good for now. I'm going to go ahead and add, go up here and add. This time I'm going to do a brush. So when you get a brush, you can choose the size of the brush. I like a small brush. And then you take that, and I'm going to go into this like patch right here that's a different color. And so I'm just going to I'm just clicking along it. Let's see, boom. I mean, this is winter, so I don't have a lot of color gradations, right? But I do have a couple, so let's see if that's... And then, so what I've done, I've selected it. You can see new mask overlay. Now I'm going to bring that up so you can see how it goes up and down, right? Up and down. I don't want it to be like that. Definitely, I mean, look, I'm all the way up. That's way too much, obviously. But that seems fair right there. Cool. By the way, I'm not saying this is the most amazing photo. I'm just, you know, kind of picking out elements. So let's see. Okay, so let's do one more thing. And actually, I've just learned about the radial gradient. So let's pick that one. As you see here, let me see. You get, it's in the wrong place. So hold on, I'll move it in a second. I put it in the wrong place. But let's see if we can work with like this middle part, which obviously is the focal point of the photo. And you can, you know, drag this to make it bigger, etc. Definitely got it big enough there. Okay, and let's see if I can make that pop. I usually go with exposure first. You definitely don't want to go too much. As you can see, it's not going to do a whole lot. But maybe I brought out those trees there a little bit. That's a little better, huh? Let me think if there's anything more I can do. Tricky part too, if you want to go back to the main photo, you got to go back to this button over here, and you're not looking at your layers anymore, and then I can play with like the general settings. Let's try. I usually let's bring up blacks a little bit there, whites. I just go back and forth usually to see if I want to change. Play around with little things. Here's the temperature. You know, it's a pretty cold photo because it's cloudy. It's obviously winter, so I think by nature it's a cold photo, and obviously you can ooh, that's way too chilly, but I think I want to make it a little colder. Ooh, I like that. That looks good. I usually play around with the vibrance in there. I don't really know what it does. You're like, oh, that's a real confidence inspiring there. Just kind of get it to where I like it. Looks like I went way up. I got some blues back, didn't I? Okay, maybe I'll do that. I usually don't mess around with saturation too much, but let's see. No, okay. I usually just, you know, rock these back and forth. I think primarily I've done what I wanted to do. Like I wanted to brighten this up, and because I want to kind of make, I usually go for like 3 layers, you know, like here's a top layer, goes almost to, you know, again with that 2/3 thing, it goes almost to the second, you know, almost to like your bottom third. And then in this bottom half or almost third, you've got these 2 colors. So that's, I usually try to go for something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and export it. What should we call it? I guess I'll call it Overlook 1. Cool. And then I usually full size, blah, blah, blah. Okay, export one photo. Sorry that you see all this. Let's see. Unedited pics, new folder, edited pics. I'm going to pick what I think maybe before editing is my favorite picture, or maybe this car picture, but let's try to get a different scene. So I'll try to get a pre-edit favorite picture, and then let's see what we can do. I feel like that has some potential. Again, potential because I like these colors. You know, you're not getting many colors in winter, so I like the fact that maybe I can do something with this. Yeah, let's pick this one. Okay, so here we go. So remember, the first thing I do is cheat a little bit by going to presets. I go to the retro ones. I tend to like 4. I think I tend to like 6. Yeah, that's a nice. I forget already what I used on the last one. Ooh, 9's looking pretty good. Let's go with 9, I think, because I don't think I chose that last time. Again, what I pretty much do first is then, so I've got my preset locked, or whatever. Yeah, preset. Let's go ahead and go to these create new masks. And these days for the sky, I've been going with the linear one. Again, because it lets me drag it down from the top. And again, that pink that you see right now is how intense it's going to be. So I've dragged that there. And this allows me then to change the exposure. Cool. So I've changed the exposure. I think that's pretty good. I probably can't do much. Anything in this layer I probably can't do much with. So I might want to actually make it go back up a little bit. Because that's considered the mask. And so if you try to do something, you know, I mean, again, I'm not an expert with this thing, but it could trouble you later. So let's make that a little higher, and I think that's fine because I'm still getting that dark top that I want. It's kind of a way to vignette your photos, you know, make that that top darker. Then let's go. Let's do the brush, and again, let's hit this color. Okay, so I've brushed the grass, and then I'm going to bring the grass up. So do it wildly. You can see, like, boom. See, you can see exactly where my brush mask is, like right there. Boom. See. Again, just don't want to make it unnatural, especially for the winter. But I'm going to bring it up a lot. Now let's see if we can do anything with this obviously darker kind of grass. Okay, cool. So I'm going to add a new brush. Yeah, because I think I want to do, yeah. I mean, I like the brush, especially if you make it pretty small. I feel like it's the, you know, like the, what's the word? Like, you know, easily manipulated tools. That makes sense. So again, I'm just going to go kind of in this area. Again, what the brush is doing is leaving that kind of print you can see there with the pink color, telling me that, oh, this is where, you know, you've used the brush. Let's see. I've got this, look, see right there? It's kind of the same color. So let me see if I can make the brush super small. That's way too small. Let me see if I can make the brush a little smaller and get some of that too. This is, again, because what I want to do is raise I almost always raise the exposure, you know, or, well, not raise, but play with the exposure when I do like a brush or the gradient. What's it called again? The other one, that one. Almost always playing with the exposure most of all. And of course, if I raise all this stuff around that, it's going to maybe bring out that rock right there. Okay, so here we go. I go over to exposure after I've got, and you can see, just go wildly and you can see what you got, right? Just wildly mess with it and you can tell where you've been. Again, how much do I want to raise it? Probably. If I raise it too much, then I lose the contrast with the grass, right? But I think I'm going to leave it there. Okay. Now the other thing that's an obvious case for like the brush is this line. See, for example, I feel like I'm looking at a photo and I'm seeing just layers, right? So I'm seeing obviously the sky layer, then I've got this really thin cloud cover layer. Then my layers are more diagonal, well, almost rounded here where you've got, I mean, like dip down and back with the mountains. That's going to be a tricky one. And then these all kind of go at like an angle, right? So they're kind of boom, boom, boom. That's kind of cool. It might be tough to get this, but let's try it. So let's add a new brush. I'm guessing that I kind of feel like I should brighten this line of trees because it's naturally brighter than the rest. But maybe I could do something with these mountains because that's, I mean, it seems obvious. Let me see. Actually, maybe not a brush. Maybe the radial is good for this zone. So let's try it. So I always put it in the wrong place. So I might have done something wrong because it's already, oh well, we'll just mess around with it. You can see how it was already activated to be brighter. So I might have, again, this is not a super like tutorial. This is a little bit like what I do for beginners. Like, I'm a beginner. Okay, now I think, yeah, am I? Oh, I can see what's happening. I kind of made it, I got on this layer because it's actually, this is changing to the brush, so maybe, So I kind of messed up a little bit, but I think I can still get away with it. In other words, these two things are connected because like my dead grass right here and this, I see it's a long story. I don't know. I'm still learning myself, but they've gotten connected. And as long as I notice that, I can deal with it. I can always undo and do another one. But I think I'm okay with it. So you can see again. Oh, actually, I'm on that layer. You gotta be really careful. See, if you hover, you can tell what layer you're on. Then I'll click it. Okay, now I'm back. So now I'm back to this one. One thing we could do with this layer is rather, again, to be a little more advanced than just exposure. Although I do like messing with that one. Of course, I can do other things like the temperature is always good. Could make that a little. I don't know. I can't decide if I want to make it. I usually decide. I mean, again, without faking reality too much. I usually just try to make every layer have a different kind of. I don't know if color is the right word, but like a shade. I want it to be somewhat different. And so I just. Again, I don't want to lie about what was reality, but I think that's in other words, I'm getting some variation now between my layers. Like it's looking like a picture that not only has like 2 colors, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are kind of similar, but 5, 6, right? Okay, so let's see. Oh, by the way, I think if you hit this toggle, never mind. I got lots to learn. I have lots to learn with this. That's looking. I just made it larger. I guess I'll zoom back out. Am I happy with that? It's not bad. It's not bad. Always like this. The problem with this photo is that all these layers are very narrow, so I'm having, I think it's hard to contain. I think that's pretty good. There's maybe. What do you think? Could I do something with that? I've already got that one. Kind of accounted for. Hold on. Wonder how I got on Zoom. I'm still learning. Let's go out again. Let's try to make this a little more contained. Okay. That's not too bad. And then maybe I can do something with this area, although I'm not really sure what I can do with it. So let me see. Add a new radial gradient, but from scratch, eh? Okay, let's get this area. This is right here, right where the eye is drawn in the main photo, and let's see what we could do with that. Okay, cool. Looks like we're okay. We're not interfering with any other layers, and let's just make sure. Yeah. So here I'll do all my things. Brighten it. I can't decide if I want it brighter or darker. I mean, these are minor adjustments I'm making. Okay, that's too bright. Like I'm barely making it darker. Okay, I think that's gonna be where I stop. I just noticed that there's a area right there. Let me see. But we can always, you can adjust this. Although I always don't want to adjust it too much because, then it's kind of artificial and recognizable that you've done something. But let's move that over and then let's still make it let's make it a little thinner. And let's move it. I'm kind of moving it over because I don't know if you can see, but let's do, okay. I've got a bright spot, which of course is the sun peeking through behind the clouds, and I want to get over there. So let's add a brush. Again, I think, okay, new mask. And then let's see if we can't, I guess a brush is correct. Like I said, a brush is a little easier to handle sometimes. Let's see if we can't, again, I'm not sure it's the best idea, but I'm just kind of clicking around. It's not the best. Let's see if we can brighten that though. No, I don't like the brush because it's too choppy. Let's see. Undo the add brush stroke. Let's make it the radial. I do like the radial. Can never draw it, but yeah, because there you go. Like I want, like, boom, something right there. Now I gotta go find it again there. Okay, so it's kind of right here. It's a bit brighter. And that's naturally occurring, right? So I don't feel too guilty. And again, if you look like that, that's obviously not going to work. I mean, that's going to look real fake. So I just got to make this super gradual. I think that's about all I can get away with. One thing I can do is make it a little bigger. And that might help my cause. Again, if it's like otherwise it looks like a spot, right? And you don't want that. I think I'm going to get away with that. Okay. My eyes are starting to cross, so let's save that one and export it. Let's try one more. A pretty different shot. Not like a huge landscape shot. We've got, fence post here in the foreground. A lot of out of focus stuff. So let's see what we can do. Again, I always go to the presets, see what the preset could do for me, just to get me started. Also gives me ideas for like, what look do I want? Like, do I want this to be super cold and blue, or do I want it to be, pretty red? What do I want to pop? I tend to have my favorite presets, like I think A6, A4, I think A9 is a favorite, or A10. I tend not to go too much for the cinematic ones. They're just a little, although that one's not bad. That one could be interesting. Yeah, maybe we should do a cinematic one. Cinematic ones tend to be super saturated, so that's the difference. Okay, so again, I always deal with the sky first, and I'm gonna go with linear in this one because I've got the sky at like here, like a bit of a triangle, right? In other words, there's stuff blocking, the sky on the other part. So really, my sky is only this section you can see there, right? And I could back that up a little bit. I guess it should be like that. And then again, you can see with the pink, you can see how much it's gonna, it's fading out, but how much you're gonna get. Again, with the sky, I'm usually changing the exposure, and I already want it more, like, to be more diffused, more there. That's, again, it wasn't that dark. That's vignetting is occurring. Let me see. Do I have to do that? Let's see. Yeah, maybe a little more, because I do want it. Where's my... That I've already changed it. I've lost the pink, but here we go. Yeah, let's make it a little darker. I mean, again, like, it wasn't that dark, so I don't want to be untrue to what was actually there. And let me think that goes. Okay. Let's see. This is a tough one. This is a tough one because personally, I kind of like how it looks already with the preset, but that's completely cheating. So let's do this. This is kind of an obvious case where you have something in the foreground that you want to make pop. So one thing I can do is like, let me go ahead and draw it out. Like, so I'm painting it with the brush, right? That's why it's called the brush, right? Get a paint. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I do like the brush tool. So I can just paint this object that's obviously in my foreground. In other words, I can change. I can mess around with this one, and it'll even pop even more. Okay, cool. That looks pretty good. Again, I always go for exposure first because, like, obviously I can make it pop by just making it more exposed, right? So I try to get something there. I'm not even sure how much. Yeah, I think that changed a bit. Again, mess with all the presets in this one. Like, yeah, this, okay. Just see how, I don't really know technically what they do. I just kind of get a feel for it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm kind of making a little more shadows on that one. I brought the shadows down. Again, I mean, just play with it so you feel like it's moody. I mean, these are all kind of artistic interventions, right? So I think I'll leave that one like that. The whites makes the white stand out a little more. Okay, cool. Again, I'm just on the pole here, so okay, so here's one thing I can do. Notice that the filter that I used, the preset, made all of this brown grass like really saturated. In other words, it made it very warm. So one thing I can do on the pole is make it very cold, and that'll really stand out. See, look, if I make it really warm, it's the same color as the grass. So just take the other strategies, make it super cold, then it's really sticking out. Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. I probably don't want to do a whole lot more with this photo. I could be real. I don't know if I could theoretically paint that one too. I think that might be too risky. Can I do anything with those trees right there, or do I want to do anything? Yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's do a new brush. I mean, I could make those, and I do like the brush. I think you've seen me already kind of not really be great at other tools. I definitely find the brush a little easier to work with, and I usually just like hit my mouse. Like I can draw a little bit, but usually I just like press, 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 do the outline, press, 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 and then fill in. Okay, so I've filled in the trees, or at least that little section of trees, and then let's see. I mean, we're playing around. I just kind of want it to be a little lighter. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's see. If you grab the whole, oh, look at that. You grab the whole brush, you can see what it, I've made it a little stronger up there. Let me see. Let me keep it. Again, it just got a little artificial. Gotta be careful. I think it's uneven, so let me paint it all. Let me paint it all even. I think that's my problem. Let me paint it all even, and then I'll go and lower the. Now it's getting a little crazy. So let me. Okay. Okay. So there. I painted it all, and then. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I guess that's the trick of the brush, is that, I'm trying to lighten some of that area. I guess I'm okay with that. It's out of focus, which is actually probably good. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't think I want to do a whole lot else. I think it's not too clumsy. Yeah, I kind of like it that it's uneven too. I could like do the brush, like, for example, if we did the gradient, it might be too uniform inside that, inside the radial, what's it called? Radial gradient. So I think I'm going to be happy with that, because it does look uneven, but that's how, like, the trees are different areas. So I think I'm going to be okay with that. Let's just look one more. Like, let's look at the other features we have. So contrast, no, we'll leave it down because we're getting highlights. Anything I want to do there? Not a whole lot. Whites and blacks, kind of. No, if I go too much, you can tell, like, you can see the contours of my mask, right? So I definitely got to be careful. I don't want that to be too obvious. This looks like, to me, it looks like blurry, but still, and the blurriness is making it still believable. Okay, and let's just see what the temperature does. Again, the temperature, if I make it too warm, I end up looking like the grass. The trees aren't blue, so maybe I'll just actually do nothing with the temperature. And let's see about the tint. No, I think I've definitely got a delicate balance on that exposure in my mask. It wasn't the greatest paintbrush job, so I've definitely got to be careful of how much I turned it up. I think I can get away with that. Pretty stylized, but I think that's fine. I've got this little dark, like, almost like, what's it called when you're on your eyes, like you're under the eyes things, but under the trees, a little dark ring. I guess I'm okay with that. I usually don't mess a whole lot with these other ones. I just don't find they do a whole lot that I'm looking for. I mean, sometimes they do. I don't want this to be real sharp. No, I'm not really messing around with anything else. I think we'll leave it there. I think I'm going to get away with that.